Good evening, reefers. How is everyone doing? Tonight, we have Mark from Ocean Sea Wave Products. So we're going to talk about some of his products, but also we're going to take a little look at his amazing reef system that he's got and talk about some of the things, some of the approaches he takes. So really looking forward to that. How you doing, gentlemen?
Oh, very well, thank you. Very, very well. Yeah, nice and warm for everybody. I hope everybody's chillers are kicking in.
Yeah, well, we were talking about this a minute ago. I don't have a chiller. I just have windows open in this room and I have fans blowing in the sump. But I'm at 25.7 degrees, so I'm doing all right.
I think I'm about the same. I'm about 25.7. Luckily for me, my sump, you'll see later, is all external. So I can just open the doors and get a nice fresh breeze in there. But then that's full of input fans and extract fans. And then on the roof behind me here, there's a huge hole in the wall that allows air to come in. And then there's like a 7-inch silent extraction fan there that runs 24/7 out of the cabinet. It's like a sealed air cabinet in there. So I don't get any condensation, nothing in the house at all. We got walls that are the right colour. No mold.
Yeah, excellent. Harry, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing okay, thank you.
Good.
Catching up with lots of work.
Yeah. I mean, you've been notably absent from some of the live streams because you've been a poorly bunny, haven't you? So
I have been. Yeah.
Yeah, good to see you back on with your usual smile.
Thanks. Good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Right, we're going to go through the comments now and just see who is in with us today. First in, I mean, John, you need to up your game because Elisa's beaten you.
Oh, my goodness.
Good afternoon, Elisa. I hope you're doing well. I don't know what weather's like out where you are, but it's pretty toasty here at the moment. Then we have someone watching just for you, Mark.
That's
2022. Yeah. Good evening.
Evening.
And then, of course, John Wright.
There
wouldn't be a live stream without John.
Good evening, John.
Who else? We have Terry Teckers. Good evening, Terry.
Hi, Terry.
We've got Lee. Good evening, Lee.
Hello.
I watched his video on the Yorkshire Reef birthday event the other day. It was nice. Good to see Jose and Dave Saxby and a few others there. Yeah, it was good to see that.
Nice.
That's where he showed that massive top down of that coral, didn't he? I can't remember what it was now, but that was quite impressive.
Yes. Yeah. Good evening, Hayley. I hope you're doing well. Melinda, very early morning. Melinda is in Australia, so it is very stupid o'clock for her.
Yeah.
Dan, the Man Mountain. Good evening, Dan. Hope you're well.
Hi, Dan.
Who else have we got in with us? Bananarama. Good evening.
Hello, mate.
And Ronald. Hey, Ron. How you doing?
Cheers, Ronald.
I've got one step further, Ronald. I felt very formal calling him Ronald then. Ron. I now have a box with your things in. So they've gone into a box now. I just need to actually get the box in the post. Who else do we have with us? Coach. Good evening, Coach. Hope you're doing well. We have Anthony. Good evening, Anthony.
Hi.
Do we have any more? Oh, I see someone say, hey, Jason, but I didn't see Jason. There he is. There he is. Good afternoon, Jason. I hope you're well. Terry. I'm hoping that name's gone incorrectly now.
Yep.
Good evening, Terry. Look. Well done, Ron. He knew I was going to have this brain melt moment. Good evening, Matt. I hope you're doing well.
Hey, Matt.
Hi.
Good evening, Tim.
Evening, Tim.
And who else do we have? Just scrolling through, seeing if we've got any other fresh names in here. Dave's Reef. Good evening.
Dave.
Hi, Dave.
Smashing Reef, which is Tommy and Sharon. Good evening.
Oh, okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Tom from Mantis Reef with us.
Hello,
Good
Tom.
evening, Tom.
Thank you for all your help earlier.
Another live stream guest coming on, making his second appearance on the live stream. Who else have we got in here? Oh, we're nearly there. We're nearly off. Oh, Rob is with us. Good evening, Rob.
Hey.
I had a proper brain fart moment today. Normally, like in my break at work, I need to go on YouTube and watch Rob's video to see what he's been up to this week, because normally something amusing has happened and I can talk about it tonight. Excuse me. I sat down and I watched it and I thought, bloody hell, he's looking really good. And I even made a comment like, what's your secret? You're looking really, really good. Then I'm like, hang on a minute. Why are you sitting at the other end of your tank? Like everything in the background's all different. And I was really confused. And then I got towards the end of the video and I looked down and it said 1 year ago. I just watched a year-old video of his.
Oh, no.
So then later on, when his new one came out, it appeared in my stream and I could then watch it. But it's because I was expecting a video from him and it was right at the top of my suggested videos list. So I just clicked on it and watched it.
Brilliant.
Good evening, Roxanne. I saw the update on Insta on Roxanne's Reef. Looking very nice. Looking forward to seeing the next update on that.
Mm-hmm.
Who else do we have? Paul. Good evening, Paul.
Hey, Paul.
Good evening, Chris. Another fantastic tank owner. Very nice tank. Have we got any more? AD Reef. Good evening.
Hi, David.
And Douglas. Good evening, Douglas.
Hi.
And we're up to date. Excellent, because that bit can take a bit of time sometimes. So, you sent me. So I kind of messaged you about coming on, and I had a space this week, and you're up for it. Saved me because I was a little bit ill prepared. So, thank you very much. And then I thought, I knew about your product. I saw you at Love to Reef. You saw me as both the East Coast Reefer and my alter ego.
Yes, Andy.
But then I thought, I don't know about your tank. I assume you had a tank, but I didn't know anything about it. And I started asking you some questions about it, and you sent me some pictures and then a description, and I was like, holy crap. This is amazing. I was messaging Ron, who we see in the chat, Reef Rondo, and I said, you're not going to believe this. The dude on the live stream this week, his tanks are phenomenal. And his setup is like insane. And he was like, yeah, I think we need a proper in-depth tour of this tank. So we're probably going to try and square you away with Reefy AF, which Todd is in. It's just a group of us. It's not a kind of safe for work environment. The language is pretty choice, but it's a great bunch of people. And I think, it'd be great. We do tank tours on there where everyone shares their setup and we always learn something from each tank. I think it'd be really great to get you on there. So we'll try and hook you up with that later on.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, he was said to me as well, that looks amazing. And then was looking at on the Reefy AF, he posted the link for this video, and then his comment alongside it was, "Yeah, you wait till you see his tanks."
Yeah, they're a bit different. They're a bit different. It'd be interesting to see what people make of my system, really. And some people might slate it. Some people think it's a nice place to live, and I'm very envious of what you do, because running a tank of my size doesn't cost a lot of money, really. But you've got some videos there. Probably the first one, or the images, is probably the whole picture of the lounge, which is like a corner shot. Wow. So as you can see, the tank's behind me there. That's in a slightly different position. But yeah, there's the tank there on the left-hand side is now not a reef anymore. That's now given over to the seahorses. And I've just done a complete and wild system in there, really. It's got corpora in there. It's got lots of corals in there at the moment that are just sitting there, growing and enjoying the non-fish life, if you know what I mean. They've been just enjoying the sunlight. And the tank is just absolutely heaving with copepods. I feed brine in there as regular as I can, but they also take frozen. And yeah, it's just a very, very natural environment for them. That tank itself is completely linked into the main reef. So the water that goes through there also goes through this big system behind me, but it also goes through the other 5-foot tank outside, and it also then goes through the 8-foot sump. So there's thousands of litres of water going through the system at any one time in various directions.
Yeah, there's a few people saying that your mic's a bit crackly, but I think it was like that before when you joined the first time, and you've already rejoined. I've been trying to play around with the mic settings my end because I have some control over it.
Closer to you like that.
Oh yeah, that's better.
That's better.
Is that better?
Yeah. Yes, that's much better. Excellent. Perfect. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I mean, you sent me this picture and I was blown away.
Yeah. I can't imagine that TV gets much watch time.
Well, he gets a lot of David Attenborough on there when he's doing the reefs and everything else, and then that's my perfect lounge.
Yeah.
You know, coral reef. All my videos from when I've done scuba diving, when I've done a lot of videography on that, then I play another reef on there, sort of thing, and it's just a full tank of water, then all the way, a full house of water. It's great.
Yeah.
But I mean, the big tank behind us is 10 foot by 700 mil deep by 600 millimeters wide. Big steel cage underneath it. I can't show you at the moment, but the sump isn't under there. It's just got flow and returns going in there, and basically that's the drinks cabinet. So if I'm feeling really, really low, I just slip underneath the tank and drink myself.
So I believe this is your sump.
That was the sump being built and work going on it. So you can see the adhesives and everything. But yeah, there's a 5x2x2 at the top there. That one there is split in two. So again, it's got spray bars in the top of that one, running water through there. Again, full of corpora. There's lobsters in there. There is copepods in there. There's everything you can imagine in there. A couple of breeding clowns in there, but they look after themselves to a degree. The other tank to the other side of it, the other half of the 5 foot, that is again completely full of wildlife in there. It's a completely natural system. I very rarely go in there. There's pipe fish in there, trumpet fish in there, full of copepods again. And
Rob says you've got an orca in there. It's so big.
Yeah, there's everything in there. That all then runs back down to the sump that you see at the bottom there, which is about 2 meters long. I built it myself. It's 500 by 500 in width. Again, some people would slate what I do. I've got a filter roller there, the Clarasil on the end. All the water from the systems drops into there via an 1.5-inch pipe. And then it goes through filter floss. Layers upon layers of filter floss in a vertical position with egg crates sandwiching it as it goes through. I have to keep an eye on it, so make sure it doesn't all overflow. Then it goes through another weir where there's more Calpura and stuff in there. More pink lights, again, just making sure it's all growing. Then it goes into a large skimmer that, unfortunately, the impellers broke on it, so I've adjusted that myself and put myself a vortex unit pump in there. So I'm still using the skimmer because I can't afford a £2,500 replacement skimmer for something like that. Yeah. And then there's a banks of pumps in there that all pump the water in different directions. There is a valve in there that you can't see, tucked away in the back there, which is like a 2-inch automatic shut-off valve, which is something that I'm going to be bringing. It's on test at the moment on my own system, but basically it's a ball valve made of stainless steel, A4 stainless, and why it's got power on it, it's open. If the power goes off, the ball is automatically electrically closed. So it stops all my tanks, all the spin off from the combs settling down to the normal height, filling the sump to capacity. It shuts off completely, shuts that return off completely. Then on power back up, the ball valve opens back up again, and the whole thing resumes back as normal. And I think there's a market for people who've got that sort of situation. Oh, somebody's just joining me.
Oh, yeah, Ron was asking earlier, where are the dogs? So,
yeah, she's there. Come say hello, Else.
Oh, in a minute. Let me do this. There you go.
Else, what are you doing? You know, she's laid down back there somewhere. She'll make another show in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have spare pumps on standby. I can just open a couple of valves here and there, and you know, if a pump goes down, I just open another valve, and that pump takes over. But it's all very, very non-computerized because me and computers, I haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
It's
got
far from simple though. It's definitely quite an involved system, quite an impressive system.
Well, I mean, my background was plumbing and heating. You know, years ago, I used to be a qualified plumbing and heating engineer. So, flow rates and water volumes and things like that. I know all about that side of it. And yes, surge pumps and things like that with a computer attached to it. No, I can't do something like that. It's either on or off. 13 amp plug or 5 amp plug, 3 amp plug, that'll do me.
Yeah. Yeah, so I saw while you were talking, I was sharing some of these pictures, a few comments that kind of popped up. I've got, half of his sump is bigger than most people's displays. Tom at Mantis Reef said, I want to explore the sump and find all the critters in there. We had a lot of people. When you're saying what you've got in there, there was an orca, a kraken.
Well, when I do the filter floss out of the sump, I sit there picking the pods off it so that they can go into the top tanks as food, basically. Some of the pods I've got in there are like 10 millimeters in diameter. You know, they're monsters. They are fully grown pods in there, and they're too good to throw away. You know, I mean, again, you're all gonna cringe in a minute. You are absolutely going to cringe because all the filter floss that comes out of my sump, that's all absolutely, completely covered in, you can just imagine it, goes in the washing machine. And it goes on a boil wash, and it all goes back in there again. And people go, "Oh my God, that's impossible." And again, and another one that people will absolutely cringe. I don't buy salt. I've got a 1,000-litre Bowser that I tow behind my Discovery. I go down to a local fish, to Goodwick, a local harbour, and I pump the water out of Cardigan Bay on high tide. I take it home. I do add a few minerals here and there. I've got a friend of mine, William, who's a bit of a chemist guy, and we're putting magnesium flake in, and we're doing all sorts of bits and pieces under his advice, because again, it's science. I then drip about 25 litres of water into the system every day. Which means I've got an overflow then on the sump, and that water from the sump goes down the overflow and goes back into the estuary, because if I was to turn the camera around, the estuary is behind me that takes the water back out to the sea. I then, again, people are going to really cringe, I don't collect RO, I don't store RO water. I've got guttering on the roof of my house. It rains.
Oh wow.
It goes into the big drum that you see that you've just seen on that photo, and then when I want to alter my salinity, I just open up the storage tank, flood the sump, and bring the salinity back up to where I want it to be. Bizarrely, it's as simple as that, really. I've got no shops near me. I've got Fish Aquatics in Milford, Milford Haven. That's an hour to drive to, and that's my nearest shop.
Wow.
So when I go to shows like Love to Reef and go into AAC, or if I go up to Tees Reef up in the Midlands, I'm like a kid in a sweet shop. You know, it's like, look, what can I buy? What can I buy? Look at that fish, and look at that fish. But I have to have an understanding with the shops that I buy stuff from, is that they have to quarantine the stuff for me, and I always pay for the fish to be quarantined, and I pay for the fish before I even take them away. I order them like I had, I don't know, as you do, probably I had about 20, 25 Anthias that I ordered, and I had them quarantined, and yeah, you do get natural dropouts even in the quarantine period. It's not fair for the fish shops to stomach the cost of the quarantine and the loss of the fish life. But I can't afford having such a large system introducing anything that's nasty into this environment. You know, people say, well, you know, you've got natural seawater, but you know, I haven't even got a UV.
Yeah. We've got a question here. Aren't you worried about pollutants in the rainwater?
No. Living so close to the coast, and primarily getting mainly westerlies, we get very little wind off the land, where you're going to get the contamination and things like that. It's always coming off the sea, and I've never really experienced anything. The only thing I've really experienced probably collecting natural seawater is phosphates. I'm always battling high phosphates, and it doesn't matter what I do to try and get over it. Somebody wants to go past me. Where do you want to go? Are you coming down? What are you doing? Oh, come on in. No. When you got dogs in your life, she's hot and then she's cold and then she's just moved. Phosphates are always been a nightmare. I collect at high phosphates, and it tends to compound. But then I'm looking at some torches there in the seahorse tank, and the colours on them are phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And I really think that corals tend to adjust to all these parameters if they're in it long enough.
Sure.
I mean, you know, I do a lot of scuba diving in Bali, and I see a lot of corals in their natural environment. And I see torches that look like they've just had a hoover shaken all over them. They're absolutely covered in crap. But the colony is probably around about 18 inches in diameter. It's huge. And it's probably sitting at like 8 metres of water. And you're thinking, how on earth is that surviving? But that's in its natural environment. So you then ask yourself, where are we? What are we doing? Are we creating an unnatural environment for them to live in? Filtering the water as much as we do, taking, filter floss, rollers, taking out basically everything that this thing is wanting to eat. I
guess it depends on where they're from, because some areas are going to be much cleaner than others.
Much
different, wide variety in parameters, as phosphate, nitrate, as well as trace elements and things like that are going to vary wildly.
I mean,
it ties back into remember when Mo was talking about how we don't necessarily want to replicate exactly how things are in the wild. We can perhaps provide a better environment for specific species. I don't necessarily wholeheartedly agree with that, but I think a conversation between Mark and Mo would be really interesting. Just how he was bringing that up before, I think that tie in really, really nicely.
Yeah. I mean, on the big system here, I've got closed loop system on there as well with Red Dragon on it on a timer that goes on of an evening, and basically. I did it a bit like a sparge system. Remember the old gentleman's urinals, where you used to have a piece of pipe all the way along the back of your urinal with little holes drilled in it?
Yeah.
Well, I did exactly the same with some 3/4, high density pipe at the back of this 10-foot. So I've got 2 5-foot sparges buried behind the wall of rock. Then when the timer comes on, or if I manually override it, the Red Dragon comes on, you can physically see the detritus coming out from behind the rock. And again, you can see then, there's a clam in there on the one side of the tank. There's a clam in there about 9 inches across. And, he's just so fully extended. And he was in a shop, Milford Haven, and I said to my friend there, who's a great shop owner, Phil, I says, that clam, I says, if you was going to sell it, he was only about 6 inches at the time. I said, if you're going to sell it, what sort of price would you be asking for something like that? I said, it's a magnificent clam. And I can also see he's got a foot there as well. He says, he's not really for sale, Mark. I said, I know. I said, but if you was to sell him, what would you say? I walked out with him for 60 quid.
Wow.
Brilliant.
And he said, I wouldn't let nobody have him other than you, Mark. He says, because I know it will be looked after,
For sure.
Yeah.
You see these clams coming into shops and they're sort of like, an inch across, and you're thinking, wow, you're asking a lot there. They're they are so delicate, and I possibly pat myself on the back when I'm looking at the size of that clam and I'm seeing its mantle growing, and I'm thinking, the system can't be
Must
that
be
bad.
happy. Yeah. Mark, can I ask, with the rainwater, do you run that through any sort of sediment filter before adding it to the tank?
I was thinking the same.
No, not at all.
No.
So, no, don't you think,
Wow.
what happens to all the stuff that's in the gutter? Like all the leaves and stuff?
Shit off of the reef and
it drops down the downpipe, and then these I can't think what they call them, hoppers that basically you can then funnel the water off to your garden, drum.
Yeah.
I've got one of those that just basically diverts round and into the sump area to basically tops the barrel up. So then within that barrel, water, if there is anything that comes off the gutter, will then settle to the bottom of the barrel over a period of time.
Okay.
So there's a good section of clear water. I do run into difficulty, and in the summer, I have to sort of like harvest water into an IBC. And again, I've got an IBC around the other side of the house, which has got salt water in it.
Yeah.
That's got a external filter on it.
Sure.
Can't remember the last time I actually changed the filters in there, because it works. And it's circulating the water constantly. There's no heater in there. There's an air pump in there oxygenating it. But do I want to take the baddies out of it? I can't see why I would want to take anything out of it. I want pure salt water. It's somebody chatted to me a few years ago, and they said it's impossible. You can't collect salt water around the UK. It's different water to what's around in the Pacific, or different water to what's around Bali. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but where's the edge of the pond? It's all the same. It's all the same water. It just goes around and around in different circles.
Paul Hughes kind of brought up that idea as well, that there's different bacteria living in different temperatures. So by taking the water from the UK and putting it in our tanks and heating it up, that can potentially kill a lot of the bacteria. But I actually use natural seawater as well and love it and rave about it. I had it since the beginning in this tank and think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it's great stuff, but it's definitely an interesting point, and it's hopefully one of these things that when the kind of biome testing and all these new things eventually start showing themselves, we can actually get answers to, rather than it all being a bit of a guessing game.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry.
It's a bit like when Gazza did his tank tour, and he said, "Oh yeah, I don't do water changes. I guess that's like really bad." And I said, "Well, just look behind you.
Yeah.
The tank does not look really bad. It looks like it's thriving." And the same with you. Whatever you're doing is working. There's lots of different opinions, but who's to say they're right or wrong? It's working. And it looks great. So
yeah. I mean, I suppose my biggest shock I ever had really was, and I'd like for you to finish your drink there, is when the front of the tank cracked.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah,
that's a lot of litres.
On the corner of the tank over there, there's a door where I can get into the Red Dragon pump and everything else. And I was working on that, and I just shut it a little bit harsh one day, and I just went, and then bang! I had a big crack go all the way across the front of the 10-foot. And bless her, my other half, she was running around like a headless chicken, getting towels and everything else. And that was a nightmare. But luckily, I got the other 5 foot that I could transfer stuff over. I got the 6 foot as well. I could change stuff over. I had to turn the pumps off and suddenly do an SOS to people, and everybody sort of like friends all rallied around. And there was an IBC in the lounge here with heaters in, with all the rock inside, and what a nightmare.
Yeah, I can't think of anything worse than. Oh God.
Yeah.
You hear about people with tanks, seams that fail, but to have a crack across the front of it, Jesus.
Of a 10-foot, yeah.
Yeah. So, and luckily, I've got a friend of mine who's a glass merchant, and he got hold of the glass company overnight, and they red lighted the problem, and at, I think it was 10 o'clock the following morning, I hadn't even cut the other front off by this time. I had a lorry pull up outside, and I had a sheet of 3 metre by 700 opti-white glass delivered. And I live in West Wales. No, it wasn't cheap. No.
Yeah, so that tank here, I recently bought. It was dirt cheap, and it was covered in scratches. And about halfway through trying to get the scratches out, I just completely lost the will to live. And I started then Googling how much it would be just to buy 3 panes of glass and just cut them out and replace them. But then when I looked at it, it's like I could go and buy a new tank, a complete tank for that.
Expensive stuff.
Yeah. Well, I've just bought some glass now for a 1 metre by 500 mil tall. So it's a 1 metre by 1 metre by 500 mil tall standard glass polished edge for Aqua 25. I'm taking a big tank there this year to demonstrate the Ocean Sea products in a working environment. I'm going to try and get some little size glow floaties or something or other that I can just show you or show people the idea of the Ocean Sea waves. And that cost me 350 quid for that glass.
Yeah. Who was it at Aqua last year that had... They had a glass tank and they had a pump in it, and they just chucked a load of like
the balls,
bottle coloured balls in it.
Sika, the Italian Sikas.
Yeah. That was it.
That's it. Yeah. Well, I'm doing exactly the same thing. I will be taking a Sika Voyager 10, but I'll be putting it on the Ocean Sea Pro. To again show that, because they're a great pump. Chris Meckley uses them on his lagoons out in America, and they're an awesome flow rate through them. But I've taken it to the next level now, where I'm making them oscillate. And that's where they're coming into their own again, really. One thing's having it stuck on the side of a reef tank, but another thing's making it move. That's the winner.
Yeah. So what kind of got you started with the oscillating powerhead idea?
What made me start with it? Well, I've been in reefing now. I'm 63 now, so I've been doing it 46 years, something like that. When I was about 16, I think, when I first started fish tanks and such things like that. And I had tropical, and I used to breed tropical fish and take them to shows and all sorts of things. And then I went into marine, and I mean, I worked on the Berlin system many years ago. And then these wonderful things eventually turned up called wave makers, and they're a wonderful thing. Now, the simile that I use with wave makers and to get the science of what I'm doing to re-educate the reefing world, and that's a very difficult thing to do, but I'm not giving up on it. And I actually feel like I'm getting a bit of traction now, thanks to you guys, is that the desktop fan. There we go. The desktop fan was invented by a guy who made an awful lot of money. And the guy who sat in front of that desktop fan got the benefit of it, because it was hitting him all the while, blowing his paper all over the place. But somebody sat 3 foot to the side of him didn't get the benefit of it at all, because he was 3 foot out the way. And then another guy came up with another idea, and he said, why can't we make that fan go backwards and forwards, left and right? And the guy who was sitting to the right of him got the benefit of it. And also, all the dust that was in the corner of the room got stirred up, and all the dog hairs in the other corner of the room got stirred up, and everybody got the benefit of the desktop fan. And all of a sudden it became a big seller. Dyson's doing it now with his blades, and everybody else picks up that if you have a fan, you want to make it oscillate. So I thought to myself, why can't you do that with a wave maker? Because everybody is belly aching that they've got wave makers in their aquariums and they haven't got enough flow. They've got detritus here, they've got dead spots there, they've got a wall of rock in the middle and nothing's going to go around the outside of it, and nightmare. And also, being a scuba diver, I've sat on reefs when I've been trying to do videography or micro photography, and I'm getting blown here and blown there because of the current just doesn't run in one direction. It's running in many directions. So why would a coral want to be in a position where it's getting water flow in just one constant direction? And that got me thinking, why can't we put a wave maker on something that oscillates? So the first one I did was a Jeep or a Land Rover window wiper motor in a box. And I took that down to Maidenhead Aquatics, and David Poole, lovely guy, Love the idea, love the concept, and he allowed me then to showcase the first sea waves down there. And I listened to what people were saying, and I could hear conversations about them of people saying, "Oh, they're too big, clunky. It's a big box. Why would you want to put that on top of your fish tank? It's ugly." Okay, and it only does 110 degrees, and really we don't want it to do that much. Really, we want it to do about maybe 45 degrees, 90 degrees. There was a wide spectrum of things. So at that point, I thought, right, let's go back to the drawing board and try and find a motor that will do that.
Yeah,
that becomes a totally different science then for me. That's when I needed help. So I put an SOS out and found people that are damn sight more clever than I. Told them the brief of what I wanted to do, and we came up with a concept that gave us oscillation for 180 degrees and also gave us a variable speed option. And basically we've run with that now. We've changed it around and gone from servo motors, which unfortunately proved to be unreliable. But that's just a learning curve. But did it okay. Now we've gone on to stepper motors. Now stepper motors are absolutely a bomb-proof product. However, the technology behind them, as you know well yourself, Steve, is that you have to create coding.
Yeah.
So that you can keep the speed of the thing running at the same speed that you're setting. Even if you wanted to change the angle, that speed has to remain constant. Now, some people say, goodness me, it's an awful lot of money for a product. But if I was to tell you that I've invested the best part of £130,000 in trying to get this product to market. This week's been a big week for me. I've got a patent that's been approved. I've got the certificate around here somewhere, albeit that it's spelt wrong. The patent office spelt something as important as that wrong.
So wow, I didn't spot that.
Yeah, you have a look at the way they spelt oscillation. It's wrong. And Chris Timms,
Craig Timms.
He spotted it. Abby's, because I'm thinking about trying to do their science on pumps with our product, and he got in touch with me and said, "You want to have a check that out, Mark?" He said, "I spelt it wrong." And he'd been all around the world showing Peter the patent certificate and everything, so I'm so proud of it. And it took Craig to find it.
I don't know.
But that's the science behind it.
There is a suggestion here. I don't know whether Terry's after royalties if you do like the idea, but he said, "Have you thought about making it move up and down, as well as side to side?"
Yes, we are working on one on a parallel thread. Paul, who my business partner is, he has suggested that, and we are also working because you can put them on a Gaia vertically, so you've got a blade effect.
Okay. Yeah.
But unfortunately, with Gaias, the mounting on them is so bizarre. When I did a chat show with Tian Org out in the US, somebody asked me, "How do you attach a Gaia to a drive shaft?" And simple thing was cable ties. The wonderful thing that everybody's got, the go-to reef has always got a box of cable ties somewhere, and it was working and does work perfectly as a vertical blade of water across a reef. So you haven't got to just put a wave maker on it in so much as a ball. You can put a gear on it. But we're also thinking about, and my partner's probably going to send me a text now saying, "Keep your mouth shut, you shouldn't be doing that." What about a gear that dipped and then came back up again and dipped and come back up again?
Yeah.
So you're creating flow, and you're also creating a wave. Yeah,
that's good.
There's all sorts of things, Water is a great thing to play with, and trying to explain to people that water movement in an aquarium isn't about forcing water through the biggest pump that you can buy. Abyss probably was slightly for something saying that, but I mean, some of the reef tanks that are in America, you know, they're 20 foot long. They're huge, and yeah, I can understand why they want to use, you know, a jet engine to push water down the reef. But what you want to do, you're encouraging current and flow of water. If you're blasting the corals too hard, you're basically what to do is take the polyp off the head. They just want to detach. Yeah. So what you want to do really is have the water sweeping over the coral. Then the coral wants to rest, wants to feed, wants to extend, and then the sweep comes back over the coral, and then it goes back through the same procedure again. And even your softies get used to it eventually. I mean, you know, my tank here, I've got a toadstool in there, is about 2 foot across. There's a monstrous thing there. You know, I can take the camera up there if you want me to, you know, try and experiment and taking you a tank walk round. I can do that. But the sea waves have taken off in the US. The SPS guys are all over it. The twig guys, they love them. Because they want flow. They don't want to blast the heads, but they want flow, and they want variable flow. I was in a conversation the other day where the guys had got Chris Metley's got my wave makers either side of a big trough. His trough is about 2 meters, 2.5 meters across by about 4 meters, 5 meters long, and he's got them working opposite each other, working in opposite directions. Okay. And you can physically see the change in the water surface as these things are sweeping across. And he says the growth on his coral, on his trays, is immense. Okay, he's using a great deal of ozone in the tanks as well, but he says he's never seen growth like it. And to get the problem and the reason why he approached me was that because he had got pumps running at one end of his vats and he had got the outlets the opposite end, he was getting not wind drift on corals, but water drift. So the corals were going like bonsais, flat, but going long. And as he said, you know, he's in the business to sell corals, but nobody wants to buy a coral that is taking up space of 2 corals. He wants his corals to go upright. Yeah. The only way he can do that is by changing current, not having the current all in one direction. Hence, that's why he approached us, for us to produce a product for him we produced a product for him in 4 weeks. That was the deadline. He wanted to showcase them in what the reef uses somewhere. Yeah, we worked day and night to get him a product and fly it out there for an exhibition. And it was just when we were going through customs that customs were opening up the boxes, and we were getting a bit twitchy because we didn't know if they were going to pass them through or reject them. You know, it's like no. Yeah.
So I'm just going to have a quick flick through the chat again. I notice Kyle has graced us with his presence, but don't tell anyone he was late. Alyssa wants to know what my top says. It's my Father's Day present from my daughter. It says, I suffer from multiple tank syndrome. We had a few more comments here as well. Mantis Reefs, it's going to be a cuttlefish daddy again.
Oh, nice.
So he's just hatched a load of cuttlefish and growing them out. And they do look amazing. And another batch by the looks of it.
I'd love some of those. I've got room.
Well, speak with Tom. I'm sure he can sort you out.
Yeah.
Talking of quarantine fish as well, if you need any quarantine fish,
yes. Humble Fish certified, first in the UK.
Yeah.
Oh right, nice.
So what we'll be talking about, I think, next week, Tom. I think we said next week.
I should be there. I should be.
Good evening, Ryan's Reef. I hope you're doing well. Who else do we have? Have we got anyone else that's snuck in? I don't think so. Yeah, look, Humble Fish approved. Your microphone's really weird, Mark. It's nothing your end.
Really?
What I have to do is every now and then it will go crackly, and I have to go into the mic settings and turn off or turn on echo cancellation, and it fixes it for like 5 minutes, and then it will go crackly again, and I just toggle whatever state it's in, and it fixes it again.
My apologies.
Well, yeah, like I said, I don't think it's anything to do with your end. I think it's just a StreamYard thing.
It's a bit of string from here to where you are.
Yeah.
There's probably got a bit of a break in it somewhere.
Yeah.
That's how technology is with me.
Yeah. We've also got Bristol Reefer with us. Good evening. And the Offshore Reacher is with us.
Hello.
Wow.
Good evening. How you doing?
Somebody mentioned an abyss there on an ocean sea wave. I did see some sort of comment.
Oh, yeah. Would be like a machine gun. I don't know whether you picked up, but every time you mentioned Red Dragon,
Yes.
Harry and I were laughing because
Right.
Tom, that's on the Reefers Network, he had 2 on his tank because he wanted redundancy. However, they both failed at exactly the same time.
Wow. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
touch wood, the one I've got on there hasn't failed yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always worry about it. But then it's okay. I'm a plumber. I can adapt.
Good. So you sent me a load of videos as well of your different setups and the products. Oh, and yeah. Oh, there he is. Tom was just hiding in the background. But evening, Tom.
Yeah.
Good evening, Tom.
Good evening, Tom.
Yeah. Did you want to? I think it would be nice to kind of walk over to the tanks with your iPad to show us what's in them, and then I can also show some videos as well.
All right, give me a second. Then just I'm going to shake the camera up a little bit. There we go. Right. Can you see?
Yeah. Have you got
So
your
the clown
orange shore?
Yeah, just a second. Where's that gone?
I seem to recall you having it earlier, so just make all the difference.
Just 1 second. How's that?
That's perfect.
Nice. Wow.
So yeah,
The growth in there.
Duncans, and there's all sorts of stuff going on in there. Then you'll come across the monster.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty big.
Some bits and pieces at the bottom there.
Like acans just down the bottom there then.
Yeah.
Unusual. I've not seen that coloration before, I don't think.
Yeah. I did struggle with them at one point, but now they're out of the flow. They're quite happy. Big bubble there. A big patch there of clove. What else we got there? Can you see that one there?
Yeah.
You're coming up here.
Is that a fungia on the sand as well down the bottom there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had him about 5-6 years now, that one. What's that one there? Yeah. You see that one there?
Yeah.
And then the wall's growing over. You have the big clams down the corner here.
Wow. Yeah.
Can you see him? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Colour on there.
You look down there. I mean, the clavis is not bad.
Yeah, it looks good.
There's the big clam again.
And you see that bar you were talking about that clears your
Yes.
detritus.
That's right.
Ah.
And I'll take you over to the seahorse tank. It's I mean, The tank is all still at the moment, but I mean, there's lots and lots of torches in the bottom there, just sitting around.
Are the corals all right with, or are the seahorses all right with the corals? Because I
Absolutely,
heard
yeah.
that they can get stung from them.
Yeah, no, absolutely fine.
I suppose they've got a lot of room in there to avoid.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, yeah, there's hair algae. I wanted this to be exactly a completely wild system.
Yeah.
So, is he hanging in there? He's happy. I'll bring you back to here again.
Yeah, excellent. I see Coach has asked, "What's the chain?" That's just something for the seahorses to grab onto. Yeah.
Yeah, just for them to just to hook onto really, and just bob around as they do. I don't do an awful lot of seahorses, to be honest with you.
No. So I've got a few videos here. Let's flick through a few of these.
Oh, Ronald.
Yeah, Ron's favourite pump there.
Yeah, the skimmer was overflowing there.
What light is that? Just a
Believe
black
it or
box?
not, that's a greenhouse light for growing weed.
Nice. Looks like it works.
Oh, it does. Absolutely. But yeah, it's
Those anemones in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
And a big pink lobster. There's a huge lobster in there. It must be about 4 inches, 3 or 4 inches. Absolute monster. But in the winter, that's got it's linked into my central heating system. So I've got like a stainless steel towel rail out there that basically heats the room because it's never going to get overheated. And then there's a greenhouse heater in there that clicks in as well if it does get down below temperature. But everything tends to sit at about 25 degrees. I mean, I don't even have the central heating on in the house. You know, I've got so much water here. It is always sitting in the house is about 21 degrees.
Yeah.
It's it's lovely and warm. I mean, I'll open the lid up on the lights now. These are all on gas arms. So I run on hydras.
Okay.
Can you see those? Can you?
Yeah.
So I've got the hydras all the way across. I've got.
How many are you running along there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah. Nice.
Wow.
8 lights there. I've got a bank of sockets all the way across the top. So all the power's up above the water.
Yeah.
And then at the back here, I've got the extract system. There's a big, huge fan here. So down below the tank here, there's a huge hole in the wall with a drill on it. And basically it sucks the air in. It comes up through the back, goes back out again. And that stops really any moisture coming into the house.
Yeah. Excellent.
But it's a piece of furniture.
Yeah. So we've got Liam with us as well. Good evening, Liam. Hope you're doing well.
Hey, Liam.
Yeah.
I've got a little video here of your seahorses as well.
Oh yeah.
What type are they? Are they the, I can't think of the name, the common ones?
The rectors.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah. There are some very small ones in there that Reef took my my product into stock a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And I had a couple of little tiny seahorses off them. They're tucked away in there somewhere. They're quite happy, clinging to each other and hiding. But again, I can't even put a person that has wildlife in an unnatural environment. Seen when I see a seahorse, in Bali, let's say, a lovely red one, it's in the middle of a sandbed, clinking onto a piece of algae for dear life.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, do they really want to live in a sterile environment? I'm all for trying to replicate what these creatures have in the wild.
Yeah.
I really do. Because I think you get the benefit of it, really.
Yeah.
A sterile environment for them is just so alien. But then if they're tank bred, then they know no different.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Good point.
But if they're
I think
caught
Paul
wild,
was saying as well about flow, because people kind of tend to assume, I think the same with pipefish, that they should be in very, very low flow, but in actuality, that's not what they're used to in the wild, and they can actually put up with a lot more than we think.
yes,
There's an MP40 and a Nero 5 on that, and there's a pipefish in there. And it has no problem swimming out and getting food from the front at the middle when I put food in. It's just, it doesn't seem phased at all.
Yeah, have you got guards on your stuff, have you, as well?
I've got guards on the Nero 5, but the MP40 is just stock.
Yeah. I mean, I've got an MP40 on my own tank. I want to get linear water flow. Yes, I do. But I've also, I've got the sea waves there. I mean, if you think that this tank 12 months ago was a cracked piece of glass and water pouring all over my floor.
Yeah.
So what you've just seen there.
Yeah.
I've been trying not to imagine that.
Both of us are sitting here with red seas behind us. So
I sort of had what you would call a Basil Fawlty moment, where I sort of ran around the garden waving my hands in the air, wondering what on earth should I do.
Yeah.
And my partner said to me, she says, well, and I've got a pump. I've got a big stainless steel pump here that is I use for collecting the seawater, and it was in the back of the car. So I went out and I got the stainless steel pump and I dropped it into the tank very quickly, and then I got the big hose out and I was put it across the lounge floor and out into the garden, and I started lowering the water as quick as I could as well. Only then for my partner to say, should it be flooding the lounge floor over here? And the 2-inch hose had got a split in it there as well.
My goodness.
Oh. That is not what you want.
The air was blue. The air was blue.
Yeah.
And then, you speak to the manufacturers about products, and I was trying to find out what's the best glue to put the front of the tank back on again with. Because I'd heard that silicone is good for 10 years and then its life has expired, basically. It goes brittle. So I approached a company called CT1. And it's a new hyper grade glue that you can, and they claim that you can make fish tanks out of it. So I emailed them, I said what I wanted to do, and they said, absolutely no trouble at all. You can glue your tank with that. So CT1, and I glued the new front on and everything else, and I waited then 10 days before I could put any water in it. I put 12 inches of water in it, and the bottom seam went again.
Oh, Jesus.
You would not believe how much pressure silicone absorbs, if you know what I mean, in the bottom of a deep tank. It's incredible. It is incredible, the amount of strain that is on them Red Sea tanks, let's say. The delaminating.
Well, I think, those Red Sea, I think Red Sea, they sell more than any other tank. So you're going to see a higher percentage. I know someone that had the front seam fail on their tank. It was not a Red Sea.
No.
But and I think that I'm really strict when I put those tanks in. Like this tank that I cleaned up the other week, it's filled up with water now and it's running and everything. I need to get a light for it yet. But the first thing I did was get the spirit level out and level it. So I think if you've got it left, leaning down, and you've got all that weight on that front pane of glass, you're just putting it through extra stress that it does not need.
Well, on this tank here, you'll see there's. I mean, it's all covered in kitchen equipment, in so much as vinyl wrap equipment. All the doors have been purpose made for it. I mean, the whole door setup here with the sliding doors underneath and the lights and everything else, that was like £2,500 for just the door arrangement, because all had to be purpose made. But there's a bar across the front there, which is builders use, like an aluminium bar box section for straight edges. That's a 10-foot straight edge, glue bonded to the front aluminium front of my fish tank, and then bolted into the steel legs underneath to give that front glass some extra support. So I'm not just relying on the silicone. I'm relying on the aluminium bar in there as well.
You don't think the front panel should just be floating on nothing then?
No,
that's a good idea.
No, no. I think something as deep as that, it needs. I think it needs help.
Yeah. I have no problem with Euro bracing. I would rather have Euro bracing than not.
Yeah. This is a fully braced one.
Yeah,
fully braced.
Somewhere to put your fish food.
Yeah.
There you go, Tom. I suffer from multiple tank syndrome. That's what it says. It was a Father's Day present from my daughter.
Can you guys see me all right, or are you losing light on me now? The tanks are going down.
No, we're still okay at the moment. I'll give you a nudge when we're getting to the point where we need some extra light or something.
In the twilight zone. Did you want to see the different products that I'm making at the moment, or did you?
Now, did you send me videos of? Because I kind of took all of the videos, I think.
I mean, there's one there with the Voyager 10 running. I think there's another one there with the Nero 7 running.
I've got I can recognise the Nero 7, so I can load that one down.
Now that's an interesting one that you can see there, because we've updated the bracket on that now. That's a fixed bracket, and obviously it's oscillating backwards and forwards. But we've now made it so you can angle it. So you can actually angle the face of Nero to either point down or to point upwards, which is, again, something new for a Nero, because, I mean, the Nero magnetic mount will only give you 7 degrees or 5 degrees on that half moon, where on that you can do whatever you like on our bracket. I've got a bracket here.
It's
You're just
good.
not going to get that flow from anything else.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is the bracket here. I've got it in my hand if you wanted to swap the camera over. I mean, this is a Nero 3. Well, as you can see, you can angle it up, because that's the front face of the Nero, so you can face it upwards, or you can face it down. And there's a simple little locking nut here. It's got some little half moons in there that are already some preset angles. But you can miss those if you chose to. But we do, though, for a Nero 3, a Nero 5 and a Nero 7.
Excellent.
But there's another little product that we've just brought to the market, and it's this one. This baby is exactly the same. Other than you can use it on any magnetic wave maker. So again, at the moment, it's in. If you wanted to hang a wave maker on that and have it on the ball cradle, so it's nice and neat. But you can again, just back the nut off. Again, you can angle it.
Yeah.
And we can have it in that position. So you could put a Nero onto there if you didn't want to use a Nero mount.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea.
Because every one of these, this is isn't a magnetic disc inside here. It's a steel disc inside there. Oh, yeah. Shock horror! It's a steel disc going into an aquarium. Hold on a minute.
While you're doing that, Nathan's in. Said hi, Grandad.
My partner's going to shoot me now because I shouldn't be showing you this. There's your steel disc, and we've encapsulated it in plastic.
Yeah.
Completely sealed it. So no salt water is going to get inside there. Then we put marine grade silicone inside this disc, and then we insert that into there. Then we put marine grade silicone on there, which then goes into that casing.
Yeah.
So that's
super interesting. That's exactly the sort of thing I've been working on recently as well. It's good to see you doing very similar.
Yeah, it's the only way you can safely do a steel disc or a magnet in water. You know, I have tried always, and that is the most successful way of doing it.
Yeah.
But it means then that you can use any magnetic wave maker other than your MP40s, obviously, because the motor's external. But you can attach anything to it. I mean, there's a magnet now, and you can.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
It attaches to it. So, you know, we've cracked that off. You know, that's a good bit of kit now. Those are optional extras in our range, but our standard wave maker comes with this attachment.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might need a bit more light now. It's starting to get a little bit hard to see them. Yeah.
Is that better?
That's better. Yeah. Yep.
So that's our standard wave maker. Now, that there is in a position where you can put anything to it on the front face in that direction. But simply taking out this nut and bolt at the bottom here, I'll do it for you guys.
Do it live.
Doing it live. Just make sure I don't drop the nut. Take the bolt out. That slides out of there. That slides into there.
Smart.
That bolt goes back in there. So you can still put a wave maker, a J-bow or something or other, on a rotating cradle underneath it.
You've thought of everything.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
I'm open to ideas. It's all about ideas.
Yeah.
And we've also then, this drive shaft here is hollow section. If I take that off there, that can be cut down to any length that you wish.
Okay.
Okay. We've put a yellow tag on it because what we're trying to avoid is people manually turning that against the resistance of the motor inside. Humans are stronger than the motor, so they could break the teeth on the gearing inside. And we don't want people to do that, so that's why we put a yellow sign on that. Once they've read that, they can rip it off, dismiss it. They're aware. Yeah. But we put it on the drive shaft because they don't want that in their fish tank, so I know they're going to read it and take it off.
Yeah.
We always leave the drive shaft long as well, because that gives people to cut it short. But if we send the drive shaft short and people wanted it long, then they've got a problem. So for the cost of it, it's pennies.
So
you've got the other half.
Is the shaft directly coupled to the motor, or is it via a gearbox?
It's directly coupled to the motor.
So if you just a bit of my electronics background coming out here.
Yeah.
If it's directly coupled to a stepper motor, and when you're not powered up, because normally stepper motors they've got 4 wires. If you short each pair together or short them all together, there is no man on this planet that's going to be able to turn that motor. It's just not possible to turn.
Yeah, that's when it's live. Correct.
Well, when you fuse them together, as it starts to generate electricity, it's generating it and it puts it down the other pole and that stops it. So
yeah, that's when it's live, when it's powered up. But this is when people are setting it up and using a hacksaw on it, or cutting this piece of rod. We don't want them turning that, because you can manually turn it. I mean, I can turn it now because I know what it will do. You can turn it manually, but we don't want people to abuse it, which I've had all sorts of stories with people trying to do things with these things you would not believe.
No, it's good to be upfront and just let people know,
Absolutely. It's a damage limitation exercise, and that's what the tape's there for. So people cut that down to whatever length they want. Then on this part here, again, this is solid rod. You can adjust the telescopic part. So once you've cut it down, that pushes on like so. And then you can do your fine adjustment then, and then just tighten that nut up.
That's good, because when inevitably what will happen is you'll cut it that little bit too short, and then you've got a little bit of play to fix your mistake.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. And of course, during the period of using it, you might think, well, I've done 3 months in that position. I want to drop it down a couple of inches. You've got that facility to do it. Then there's another little unit we've got here, which people ask me, what on earth is that? Frag rack.
Okay.
So they'll be turning, getting light, different flow. Yeah.
Exactly. We've all seen it. We've all been to the shops, and you've got all these little frags sitting on the bottom of the tank, and they've got hermit crabs and snails climbing all over them. You get the shop guy to shove in a plastic bag. You take it home. It's been banged around in the car, or if you're really careful, you put a safety belt around it, like I do. But it goes home. It's in shock, and the last thing you'd want to do is go and stick it in your reef, and then to get absolutely hammered then by hermit crabs saying, "Oh, this is nice algae. I've not tasted this before," and the poor thing's still trying to recover.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to think where you're going to put it. Well, why don't you pop it in your tank and put it on a little frag rack like that? Why the wave maker's underneath it and it's pulling the water through? It's going to get flow.
Yeah.
It's not going to get any critters. It's not going to get any sea urchins going over it. It's not going to get an awful lot of fish on it because it's going to be continually rotating. It's going to get lots of current running through it. And you can also then watch it, because I'm going to be honest now, I've got polyclads in that tank. That's why there's no torches in there at the moment. Because even though I clean my corals that I've bought as frags, and I've dipped and dipped, I must have got some polyclad eggs underneath a frag somewhere. And yeah, they hatched in there and they were munching through my torches like you would not believe. Hoiked a lot out, and they've all been dipped, re-dipped, toothbrushed, you name it, microscoped, and they're now in the seahorse tank, clean.
Yeah.
I daren't put them back in the big 10-foot. I've got to starve the tank for at least a year before I can go back in there with any food for them, because they'll be just sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
So if you can put your torches or anything else on something like this, and your polyclads hatch, you're going to see them crawling all over your torches or any other type of critters, and they're going to be watered, but they're going to be hanging in this area. So no sea urchins are going to be crawling all over them, because sea urchins can't swim.
Yeah.
They can't reach over. No hermit crabs are going to jump on them, and no snails are going to jump on them. So they're still in relatively a sterile environment that nothing can touch them. So your corals, in my opinion, on a frag rack stand a far better chance of surviving than being put on a reef that everything's going to go sniffing around them as a new dog on the block.
Yeah. So Ron's got a question. Sorry, Harry. Ron's got a question here. He's obviously worded it in a humorous way, but it's a good question. Say, do you feel comfortable dipping your nuts in the tank? But talking about the fixings on it. You know, you've got a screw and a nut there, but what are they made out of?
Nylon.
Excellent.
Brilliant.
They're nylon. Anything that we have that's metal, which we now, you know, other than the steel disc in there, because obviously A4 stainless is not magnetic, but we've managed to get everything out the water that was, you know, potentially going to rust. But even the screws on the lid here are A4 stainless steel. But I don't want any problems. I mean, we've gone for a special label on the top here, which is UV protected. Even, you know, the writing is protected. Everything about it is you know, done in such a way that it's marine friendly. And that's important. You know, I wouldn't like people to be putting foreign stuff into their tanks, and that's why, you know, I toiled over doing the disc system for many days. You know, I live by the sea. I submerged a lot of stuff in the water, left it there for 3 months, checked it, split stuff apart. I had litmus paper inside the discs, and nothing was getting in there. That's why I was happy then to release it out to the public, knowing that I trial tested it. And it's likewise the other product we got here, which is the mounting bracket. I haven't mentioned that. Something that Paul has come up with, and basically that would be for a Euro brace. That clamp there slides, so you can have that as 38mm is the widest part of the gap in between your teeth here.
Yeah,
that goes up and down like so, and yes, there is a screw here. We provide the Allen key for that. That's A4 stainless steel, but your water level for your tank is normally about here.
Yeah.
So it's outside of your water level. Again, it won't rust because it's A4. But that bracket can also be turned round. And now we'll do a rimlet.
That's clever. That's very clever.
It makes, when people order a product, very simple.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's got so much movement on that bracket is because the Americans have got a very fancy pelmet around there, some of their tanks. And we had to invent something that would go around the rim of the tank that would clamp onto theirs. So they sent us all the profiles. We 3D printed all the profiles off the files that they sent, and we made that bracket to suit. Now that one there is for this bracket will do the coral, which is the coral unit is one that is preset. So it's got a 90-degree angle on it, and the speed of it is already preset. So that's a plug and play unit. It will just work at that speed and that angle forever and a day. You can't change it, and that's our introductory level wave, you know, oscillator. Yeah. Then we come up then to the new one, which is the neep. That's back to front on my screen, but you might have it the right way.
No, it's good for us. Yeah.
It's the neep. The neep runs at 90-degree angle, and you can alter the speed on it as well. Small and compact. I mean, it's a tiny little unit. There's a lot of work gone into making it that shape.
Yeah.
A lot of work getting it condensed into that box. And, you know, that's about as tight as you're going to get it, really. I mean, you might get another 5 or 6 millimetres out of it.
Quick question here.
Yeah.
Where did the name Neep come from?
Neep came from tides.
Ah.
You get a neep tide.
I imagine Ron was thinking of Neeps and Tatties.
He did mention it on the Reefers forum when I was on there the other week, and he wondered where the name come from. Yeah, it's from tides. I try to get all the names related to oceans and seas and such things like that.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Can you show just again on the with the neep that you just had then with the bracket mounted, what height the top of the, so that's set up for a rimless, so you can see where the top of the glass would be, so the main body would be above the, you know, if you look on my tank here. it would be kind of here, just above the glass.
I can't see you. I'm out of screen. I'm out of your screen. I can't see
Yeah, sorry. Let me do that. Yeah. So it would sit just above the glass here.
That shoulder there is the top of your glass.
Anyway, let me spotlight you again. There we go. That's it.
Shoulder is the top of the glass.
Perfect. Yeah. Because
So
for me, I'm thinking, I'm trying to think in my head. Okay, how would I kind of cut my netting to go round that?
Well,
in my tank kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, Red Sea do a U shape, don't they? That
Yes.
Can go so you can adapt your net system to go around it. D&D don't, because I think they only do them for their set size reefs, don't they?
Yeah.
But we are working on something for that at the moment in a clear acrylic that will go round the drive shaft and round this unit here, because I've been asked several times about that. Some people have said it's a bit of a negative thing, but other people have said they'll live with it and work round it. It all depends if they've got a handyman in their life, if it's a woman, or other ladies can do it themselves with a hacksaw and they're quite proficient with tools.
Yeah. That was well avoided, that hole you were starting to dig yourself then. Well done.
Yes, I was suddenly thinking, I'm public, I can't do that. So that bracket I've just shown you there is a universal bracket. This is the next one up. That one goes on there like so. And that one is the Pacific.
Yeah.
Now the Pacific will do 180 degrees. And it'll do variable speed again. It's a deeper unit. A bit more space in there for the motor.
Yeah.
Again, but slim. 5-volt DC. Now then, an interesting point. 5-volt DC. You can run that off an Apple phone charger or any phone charger.
Wow. So low, very low current then.
1 amp. So
Wow.
if you could find a power supply to do your wave maker in a power outage, if you've got a battery bank, to charge your phone, you can buy a lead that will go onto that barrel socket there. You can run this wave maker off a battery pack.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it doesn't use any electric. Very little. Very little indeed. It's one of my things that I wanted to try and get this product to be very economical, cheap to use, and that's what we've done, and that goes for the whole range of them. And then we come on to the big brother. Okay, so Pacific Pro.
Yeah.
That's the monster. If you look at the size of the bracket.
Yeah.
This is for the big boys. Oh, sorry, I've got the adjustment fully closed, but that again is telescopic. Again, for the big things. That comes out of there. It'll go slip in there.
Yeah.
And again,
I can't imagine you're going to have many rimless tanks that need one that size.
Yeah, you'd be surprised what people have got. And again, I've had the Voyager 10 on these, working away. I think you've got a video there of a Voyager 10 running.
Let's have a look, see if I can find it. I've got this one. You'll have to tell me which one it is, because this is just looking into your tank, I guess.
Yeah. There is an end view of the Voyager 10. I'll see if I can find it, and I could possibly send it over to you.
Well, I've got them all. I just don't know which one's which. So that's
my apologies.
We'll just go through each one. I have this one here.
Oh, they are. That's the Voyager.
Okay.
It takes us some time to go.
Yeah, nice.
So we made a bracket for that, so you can actually hang it, and you can direct it in any angle that you choose to. Then that's not the best video, unfortunately. Sorry.
That's all right. We've got some other ones, so let me.
But these will all be on show at Aqua 25 as well.
That'd be good. This one's an end view of your tank. Is that going to show us the same Voyager?
Yeah. No, that's got a very large J-pod on it this time.
Okay. Yeah, tank looks like. How long ago was this? Because it looks a lot more grown out now than this.
Sure.
Oh, probably 5 months ago.
Wow. That's grown a lot in 5 months then.
Sure.
Oh, the growth's phenomenal. There's all the torches that I had. You know, they're all sitting in the Fiji rock. It just these polyclads started coming out and stuff, and that was it. Then hiked the lot out before it gets too bad.
Yeah.
So, but
we did have a question from Tom. Sam, will you be selling at Aqua or just showing?
Good question. I will be selling. I do believe that Reef won't be going on the show. So there'll be 2 stands with us on. There will be obviously my working display and the static displays with them all on dry. And then there's another company called Coral Vault. They're going.
Yep.
And he's an agent for us, and he's offered us half of his stand to put dry sets on there again. That said, if I get some retailers on board that want me to come off the internet and as a manufacturer stop selling direct to the public, then I will give it serious consideration, because at the end of the day, those guys are putting them in the shops, they're putting them on the working display, everything else, they're my end shop display.
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair for me to be selling them direct to the public and cutting them out of the loop. It's not right. But at the end of the day, I was talking to Paul Hughes, AAC, the other day, and he said, I would be keen on you, Mark, doing it direct to the public yourself. And I said, that's fine. But you've got to understand that I've got a business at the moment that, okay, I'm earning money from America, but I'm also spending an awful lot of money on marketing in America. And to get traction in the UK, I've got to do exactly the same thing. Now, how do you suppose that I create money without selling something?
Yeah.
It's been a money pit. The whole thing has been a money pit.
Yeah.
And the pot's getting empty. So I've got a product. Why I'm trying to get traction on it, I'm going to sell to the public. As soon as I get 2 or 3 retailers on the market on board, iReef's one of them. They're okay with me at the moment doing it because they understand finance. As soon as somebody else jumps on board, I'll shut the website down. It'll just be there for information.
Yeah. Lee had a question for you. Do you have any brackets for the Neptune WAVs?
No, but if somebody wanted to send me a Neptune WAV for me to make a bracket, not a problem. Not a problem at all. You send me the equipment, registered post, I'll sign for it. I'll make you a bracket. As simple as that. Because but not they want them telescopic, or if they want to use our drive shaft like so, and we can put what I call it an exhaust clamp bracket round it. It's all made in 3D. That'll tighten to this. Then it could be telescopic if they chose to, or they can just cut that down to whatever length they wanted. But I'm totally not unapproachable. I'll make whatever people want, and Paul, my designer and partner, we're quite happy to carry it all up and get it printed, and we can probably turn things around in about 5 days.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Lee might be looking at sending you a WAV to get one made up.
That's not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. Yeah. If you want to go on to oceanseaproducts.com, send me an email on there, then I'll chat to him on there, and we can link up. I can give him the address for the office here, and I can, soon get something made up for him. It's not a problem at all.
Yeah,
it makes all the difference, doesn't it? Having that communication, certainly with direct with the manufacturer in this instance.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm a growing company, and you've got to be approachable. And I mean, I'm a little fish in a very, very, very big ocean, and excuse the pun, but when you're fighting against the likes of the big boys, you've got to offer something a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that little bit more is taking the trouble to come onto a show that, you guys invited me on. I really, really do appreciate it. And talking about the way it is and how hard it is as well to make headway. I mean, Love to Reef, for me, was an amazing thing. Absolutely amazing thing. I lost the type of money in the last recession that people only ever dream of. Type of money that you win on the lottery, I lost because of my building empire collapsed. And I came away with it, and people were buying me tins of baked beans and food packages because I hadn't got any money at all. And I got out of the building industry, really. I just found another way of trying to do it. But I had to open it, and it's nice to see people talk about it. I had a breakdown. I openly admit I had a breakdown. And I, nearly went to the funny farm, unfortunately. I did, I was thinking of very dark, sinister things to do to myself. So I didn't embarrass the family anymore. But I sought help. My wife was very good, and she helped me. And it was part of doing Love to Reef and contributing to Paul there. Whenever I sold a product, I contributed there. That I felt I wanted to give something back.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys out there that, again, are struggling mentally. And reefing is a good way of bringing the best out of a man, if you know what I mean, that's in dark places. Because there's something, they've got a responsibility. They've got an environment here that, unless they've got the husbandry to do and the nous about them to look after it, that what's relying on them, as small as it could be, a cleaner shrimp in a huge tank, he's relying on him to look after him.
Yeah.
And it's very important that, people talk about their mental health these days.
Yeah.
Love to Reef was wonderful for me. Absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Well, I noticed that Paul has been in the chat. So, hats off to Paul Fish Palace, who kind of arranged that. And I'm the same. I ended up with a promotion at work and struggled with adapting. I wouldn't say I had a full breakdown, but I was really struggling for a bit. And I think it's really important to kind of tell people so that they know if they're going through it. It happens. Just talk to someone, get a bit of help.
The world has changed, and you got these guys that stand at the bar and the big drink and everything else, and there's a big bravado. But when they're in the dark spaces, the wife left them or whatever has gone on in their lives, you've got to be able to open up and talk to people.
Yeah.
You've got to,
I think it really shines through, Mark, that you're selling your product is kind of a bonus. I think at the end of the day, you're a passionate reefer. And,
absolutely. Absolutely. I love the community as well. I was talking to the other guys on the chat show. They're real people.
Yeah.
Real people, genuine people. And, my business is based on those ethics. Yeah. That if somebody's got a problem, if they're not happy, resolve the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Work with them.
Absolutely.
And if it makes me successful, then that's where I want to be. I lost the money that you would win in a lottery. That was my retirement pot. I haven't got a pension. I only got the state pension. I've got nothing. So I had a brainwave of building a company that hopefully brings a new product to the market and I've got a patent on it, that in itself has got a monetary value. But I want something that's going to sell. And it's selling. It is selling. You know, it's getting traction. We're in the quiet period at the moment with koi carp season and goldfish and things like that. But you know, start coming into September, October, people start cleaning the front glass on the fish tanks and going, "Oh yeah, bet time I spend a bit of money on this again."
Yeah. It's definitely the quiet time. I mean, I've noticed it with YouTube and views and people coming on. It's definitely quieter. People are going on holidays. They've got other things to do. But yeah, it's really important. I think with the hobby, people are really supportive. I've had a lot of hobbies. I'm a bit of a compulsive hobby taker.
Have you got golf clubs?
Yeah, so golf was the hobby before reef tanks.
Have you got a bike?
No, that's probably one of the ones. Well, motorbike years ago. Yes.
Guns in the gun cupboard?
Done that. Yeah.
Drones? Have you had a drone?
Yeah. Used to have a YouTube drone channel. Yeah. But out of all of them that I've been in, the people in reefing have just been so much nicer.
Yeah.
And, you know, Harry and I have talked about it quite a few times. You know, we both run YouTube channels, but we're not here to compete with one another. You know, there's things, there are different styles, and there's things I learn from Harry, and there's things that maybe I can help him with. You know, it's just about working together and helping each other, enjoying what you do.
Well, if you guys come down and see me at any time in West Wales, and anybody's welcome to come down and look at my reef tanks. If they all want to bring a nice CP test with them and send it off, I'll be quite impressed at what the results are. Probably the ICP company go, no, you can't.
Where did you get this?
You can't grow stuff in that sludge.
Well, take a look at my tank.
Well, if anybody ever wants to come and visit me, you know, they're more than welcome to take a day out jolly. It's a long drive. It's 4.5 hours to get to civilization from here.
It's a beautiful area of the country, though.
Oh, it's magnificent. You know, I moved down here about 11 years ago, and I go to the beach every day. My dog swims in the estuary every day. And she comes home, she's covered in salt and sand. You know, I just live in salt and sand. You know, and I still pinch myself every day in my arm as if to say, am I living a dream? Because I go to work at 7:30 in the morning. I finish work at 4. I do my 5-day week, and I'm living a dream.
Yeah,
absolutely. You don't really need all that money. It's nice to be able to not worry about paying your bills. But it's all about quality of life as well, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. And I think that becomes more important the older you get as well. I know when I was younger, I was just like, I just want to make money. I don't care about anything else. I just want to make lots of money. But other things become important.
Oh gosh, yes, yeah. I mean, I had a house once that was, you know, £750,000. It was a mansion. You know what? It had something like about 16 rooms. Each one was like 20 foot by 18 foot. Big bay windows. I had a central heating boiler in there that never switched off in winter. My oil bill alone was £1,600 a month. That's my oil bill. The thing just never stopped. And we still walked around in jumpers, and we had ice on the inside of the sash windows. It was a listed building. You know, was I happy there? No, not really. It was just a nightmare. It was a financial nightmare, you know. So it's not all about what's nice, all the nice things in life. I mean, now my bedroom's bigger than the apartment that I live in, but it's the best place I've ever had. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And it's full of fish tanks.
So what's next for Ocean Sea Products?
We are working on a project at the moment that, again, my partner's going to shout at me. Penguin pools. Yeah, there's a curveball for you.
Penguin pools. Okay.
Penguin pools. Okay, we are inventing a product now that is going to be going into a zoo, and the zoo is struggling with poor water flow at the moment. Be it that they've got some huge skimmers, they've got great big 3 horsepower pumps running, but they've got natural salt water. No, they've got mineral water. They have got natural sunlight over it. They're getting great big algae clogging up at the bottom of the pool. They've got 2 great big 3 foot by 2 foot grids at the bottom of their pool, sucking water into their filtration plant. They've got sand filters, everything else. But these great big clumps of algae are clogging up the grills. So we've offered to go in there and basically create the mother of all sea waves. And basically, it's going to be a stainless steel rod going down that's going to be oscillating across the pool, one on either side. All the electronics will be external. There won't be a wave maker as such in there, because we're going to be using an external pump and basically jetting the bottom of the pool continually backwards and forwards. Nothing like it in the world.
Kind of makes you think, why has no one done this already?
Yeah. And that's what
so your penguin pool version, I think Rob, pelagic swimmer, I think he wants one.
Yeah, I mean, people can UV stuff. They're banging ozone into it as well. But natural seawater, natural sunlight, and the amount of nutrition, penguin poo must be pretty horrible stuff, I would imagine.
Yeah.
So the nutrient level in the water must be extremely high, and that's feeding the bacteria, the algae.
Yeah.
So hopefully this one will be one of many that will follow. Because no doubt they all talk to each other, the zoos.
Yeah, especially if you've got something that works well, they'll definitely be they'll say, oh, you want to get one of these? Yeah, these are great.
Yeah. So we're working on it. And there's another product we're sort of playing around with the idea at the moment. There's another light called kilo ray lighting. I am bringing one to the show. They do all the zoos again in China and Japan and places like that. And they're an IP65 rated light, so you can actually pour water over them if you chose to.
IP65, that's
and it's LED. It's got one of them things that you use on your phone. Oh, an app. And they're a slimline unit, wafer thin, 18 by 18 in diameter, and I've just supplied some lighting now via the company out to Perth for a big cylindrical aquarium out there, 4 meters deep, 2.5 meters in diameter. It's the biggest private aquarium in Perth, I do believe. And they've had the kilo ray lighting over there, but they've had the ones that are a bit like thrusters on the bottom of a rocket. See, a rocket, they're like a cylinder with an eye on it. They're incredible lights, and they're trying to make their way into the UK at the moment. So they like Ocean Sea Products as a company, and they would like us to take their product into stock. But as with anything, when it's a new product like that, is we have to get it IP, we have to get it rated, get it checked, CE, everything else, to make sure that we're the end person that's selling it, that it complies with the UK requirements.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot of time to do that. And also, it's another big financial investment. And am I ready for that investment at the moment? Let's concentrate on Ocean Sea Waves at the moment and get that one working. And everybody wanting to put them into their reefs. And I think we're getting there. I do think we're getting there. I'm looking forward to Aqua 25. You guys are wonderful. You know, you're all getting it out there for me, and I think, yeah, it'll be. Can we have one of those? Can we have one of those at every shop?
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely like a really interesting. I think the key is going to be that little cutout acrylic thing for the netting. Because for me, because I've looked at these, and for me, the question in my head's always been, how am I going to make that work with my lid? Because I still want the lid round it, so I don't want anything jumping out. So how can I do that? And I couldn't quite get my head around it. It's been good seeing you demonstrate those brackets and explain how they work and everything, because that's really kind of helped me get my head around how it would fit on the tank.
Well, again, if people approach me, you know, via the website, I'm quite happy to, you know, send them or sell them a bracket on a sale or return basis, so they can experiment with trying to work out how they can do the nets while I'm trying to invent something. At the moment, you know, I've got no option, you know, no issues with that at all. So long as they cover the cost of the bracket and the postage, you know, and send it to me, I'm quite happy to do a refund on it, you know, because at the end of the day, potentially, there's a sale of a Sea Wave at the end of it. And that's what it's all about. But I say Red Sea do a U-shaped method that you can get round it. And I mean, you know, if people want to improvise, then there's nothing wrong with a little bit of acrylic, soft acrylic, and cutting something out with a pair of scissors and some Velcro, if you wanted to do something. And they, you know, reefing, as we all know, is a lot of improvisation.
Yeah.
You know, pipe work and such things like that. You suddenly become, you know, a master pipe fitter all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And an electrician.
Yeah. Well, Harry is the king 3D printer. I have one here that I do a bit of hobby printing with. But Harry's our resident 3D printer, so he quite often invents new little doodads and gizmos and stuff to meet our reefing needs. And I think you could do something similar. You could use like the Red Sea, and I know Liam said in the chat that D&D now do these cutouts as well.
Oh, D&D do them. Okay, because I was in the shop the other day and Phil didn't know not D&D did them. So Red Sea do them, and D&D do them. So who else does jump guards now that would need to be covered off?
Not DIY one. I mean, you only really, apart from those, the only one I can think of are like custom made lids. D&D and Red Sea are the only kind of DIY ones, aren't they?
Yeah, mine are both D&D, and I have no problems going around the weir and whatever. They've got all the right angles, so you can just do the same thing on a smaller scale.
It might be that I'll have to buy some Red Sea ones and some DD ones, and I'll just say, you know, we stock them if you want to.
They're very similar.
You know, no point in me, you know, spending a lot of time inventing something that there's already a product out there that does it. I've got better things to spend my time on, like walking on the beach.
Yeah, exactly.
Or going to get some seawater.
So you know, I think that's that kind of thing where then you could use one of those cutouts and then just print something that went tight around the shaft so that it would sit over, so that you couldn't.
It can't be too tight around the shaft because you've got to allow for your cable to come up from your wave maker as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Now we do. I don't know if I've got them on here. We do clips that go up the drive shaft to keep the cable tight to the drive shaft. But that said, that we do say on the instructions as well to try and have a large sweep on your wave maker cable as it comes out of the water. Because if you have it too tight, that repetition sweeping backwards and forwards is going to work harden the cable. And as we all know, and I hope I'm not talking out of turn here, that let's say D&D, their cable after being submerged in salt water can go quite brittle. And you know, I've got quite a few Neros here that, you know, and I've seen quite a lot on, you know, various chat groups where people are saying that the cables have gone very brittle at the end where they're joined onto the Nero. But likewise, repetition as it comes out of the water could also work harden it as well. So,
yeah,
taking on board what you're saying there, it'd be nice to do it nice and neat, but you know, it's a difficult thing to achieve.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just thinking of closing off all the space for little gobies and stuff to jump out of, more than making it look neat. Yeah.
Yeah, the escape artists. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, other people will slate me as well, you know, for the product, because, you know, why on earth would people want, you know, something like that dropping in the middle of the tank that they're looking at? And in one of the exhibitions, I had a chat with a couple there, and they said, "Oh, the wife said, oh, I don't like that. I don't like that." And it's trying to explain to people that you've created a prison cell for these fish to go into, basically. And is what you've created about you or them? You're trying to create an environment that replicates what's in the wild. So you really need to possibly take away what you want to look at and think about what the inmates want at the end of the day. And, you know, some people are slated, some people will embrace it, you know, and get on with it. But that's probably the difference between serious reefers, you guys that are sitting here watching this now, and the goldfish type bowl people who have just sort of like had it for a bit of a 6 months and then it goes, you know, the fad people. These are for serious.
I suppose it's quite a difference really as well, that if you, because I must admit, when I first sort of thought about them, you think of this thing sat on the front of your glass covering up your view. Oh, it's going to be totally different on the back of the glass, especially if you've got kind of a blacked out rear panel.
It can be there,
and even the side is
on the sides is a really good position. If you have, you know, running on 90 degrees, it's achieving what you want to do. It's going the length of the tank and then sweeping the front of your rock wall if you've got a rock wall.
Yeah, brilliant.
And that's all about really struggling with them on the back of a tank unless you've got an island.
Yeah, see, mine, I don't have rock kind of against the back wall.
So that'd be ideal for you, because then you're getting current around the front and the back.
Sure.
You know, so, you know, the chances of getting any detritus building up there.
Yeah.
You know, 1 is good, 2 is excellent. If you can have 2, 1 on either side, then the flow is incredible. You know, it really does turn the water around. And you're also saving on wave makers as well, because you can see on many a tank, you know, people have got 4 or 5, you know, blasting away, a guy on the top, then an MP40 down below, and then they've got something else somewhere else, you know, where one of my products does probably 2 jobs of the other products. It's just re-educating people. That's all it is, just re-educating people.
Yeah. Well,
much on the chat? Many people chatting, or?
We've had quite a few. It's been quite busy. We've kind of had 40-something people at one point, kind of on. It's been really good. Thank you very much for coming on and showing it all to us. I think I need to send you a link to the Reefy AF stuff. See if we can get you on there, because I would really like a full-on tank tour where you take us through one day all of what you've got, because you've got not only have you got an amazing setup, you have a lot of quite different ideas about how you've approached things as well. Yeah, which I love, because that's where you learn from. You learn from people with.
It's like Ron says, you always learn from all the different tank tools. There's always something to take away from it. I think, Mark, you said quite a few times about, oh, you won't like this, you'll squirm at this. But it's those things, it's those like tidbits of information that make you think and go, okay, interesting.
Chasing numbers is the worst thing in the world to do, in my opinion, because you end up chasing your tail. You really do. If the corals look healthy and the tank looks healthy and the inmates within the prison cell that you've created are thriving and growing, it's a win-win.
Yeah.
It's a win-win. And it's just knowing, when you're looking at that system, looking for the telltale signs of there's something adrift. There's something not quite right. And that comes with knowledge and comes with talking to other people, groups of people.
Yeah.
That have got that wisdom to say, okay, yeah, there might be something going on there. You know, in your first place to look at is, you know, your tests, obviously. You know, I do test occasionally. Occasionally. I don't know what it bloody means sometimes, but...
Yeah.
I'll just get the book out. What does that mean?
So if anyone does want to join Reefy AF, there's a link on the screen now. If you're not already, although everyone probably is, take a look at The Spiritual Reefer on YouTube. Also, some real clever stuff on John B's YouTube channel. He always plays down what he knows, but some of the stuff that he's created himself, amazing. It's really great. And if you need any kind of 3D printing stuff, go and check out Marine Spec, very own Harry's website.
Excellent. Excellent.
And there's your website back up. I will. Yeah, so that'll be on when people watch this back. They'll see that link as well.
Wonderful.
Thank you very much for coming on and sharing everything with us. It's been really great speaking to you. Thank you again, Harry. And I'll see everybody in the next stream next week.
Excellent. Thank you again, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.